Let's talk about some more protocols that you need to know for the A+ exam, some file service protocols, file sharing and file service protocols, and also network management. The first is SMB. That's the server message block. This provides access to shared resources on Windows networks. So it's accessing shared items such as files and printers. And the SMBs are actual packets that authenticate remote computers through what are known as inter-process communication mechanisms, or IPCs. The server message block can communicate via TCP over port 445 or using NetBIOS over port 137 through 139, but for newer versions of Windows, it's going to be over TCP. And if we go back to our IANA port number registry and we do a little search of port 445, so we see Microsoft-DS, which is directory services, and it's something that can run on TCP or UDP, but this is SMB. This is the server message block. It's dealing with directory services over the network, and it generally uses port 445. Now, if we do a search for SMB, you'll see that this can also run on port 5445, and that's SMB Direct. So this is for remote direct memory access. So you might see this as well. Know that it's possible that it could use 5445 in addition to 445. And that, of course, is in addition to using the NetBIOS ports as well. It may use port 137 through 139. So SMB was also referred to as the Common Internet File System, or CIFS, because back in the day, SMB or Samba on Linux systems would run over CIFS port 3020, and that's older versions of Windows. So you might also see that terminology, but today SMB will normally communicate over TCP on port 445. The next one is the Apple Filing Protocol, AFP. That offers file services over the network for Mac computers that are running OS X. And generally this uses port 548 and sometimes port 427 for establishing the communication between the two systems. And by the way, the port number 427 is also used by the Service Location Protocol, or SLP. The Service Location Protocol enables computers and other devices to access network services in the LAN without any prior configuration needed. And they do this with the aid of a URL, some type of name like service:/printer:/LPR or service:/TFTP, and then connecting to a particular host by host name or by IP address. So it works on port 427. It often uses UDP as the transport mechanism, but can also be used with TCP. Now, Mac computers can also make use of SMB and other protocols for making connections to other systems like Windows computers or Linux computers. And finally, we have the SNMP. This is a little off topic. It's a network management protocol. SNMP, Simple Network Management Protocol. This is used to manage and monitor network devices, for example, routers, switches, and computers even. And it's often incorporated into software known as a network management system, or NMS. And so the NMS is the main software that controls everything that's SNMP based. And it's installed on a computer known as a manager. The devices that are to be monitored are known as managed devices. And the NMS installs a small piece of software known as an agent that allows the NMS to monitor those managed devices. It also puts traps on the network to actually check network traffic and capture packets and things like that. And so it uses ports 161 and 162. SNMP, the NMS, the network management system, will use port 161. That's where the software is actually running. The traps, those are going to use port 162. So 2 ports you should know for SNMP, 161 and 162. So that's about it for this sub lesson. Just a little of basics on SMB, CIFS, AFP and SNMP, some of the additional protocols that are listed in the A+ objectives. Make sure you know the basics for those and the ports that they use.